The cold October air of Flagstaff touches my face gently as I finish trimming the bushes outside Mrs. Findley's house. The yellowed leaves of the maple trees whirl in the air, and I smile involuntarily. Fall has always been my favorite season. One final touch, and the lawn looks perfect. My hands, scarred from years of working with plants, gently caress the freshly trimmed boxwood. Eugenia, you've outdone yourself again. Mrs. Findlay nods from the porch where she's been watching me for the past half hour. I smile and take off my work gloves. At 54 years old, I still enjoy having my hands in the ground all the time. Many of my clients joke that I understand plants better than people. Maybe they're right. Thank you, Mrs. Findlay. I'll come back next week to see how those new roses are doing. I look at my watch as I pile my tools into the old pickup truck. It's 4 in the afternoon. I still have time to stop by the gardening store to buy new seeds for the spring project in Buffalo Park, and then I'll head home. It's Wednesday, the day Amber sometimes comes over for dinner. Although, thinking back to our last meeting, I doubt she'll show up. My way to downtown Flagstaff passes Northern Arizona University. Students fill the streets, and I involuntarily recall how I used to take Amber here on open days. She had dreamed of studying here, but then decided that the local university was too provincial and went to Phoenix. What a lot of disappointments she had in 30 years. Flagstaff is a small town of about 75,000 people, sandwiched between the pines and mountains of San Francisco. After moving here 28 years ago, I immediately fell in love with this cozy corner of Arizona. I found my home here after my divorce from Roy, Amber's father. The evening sun colors the streets amber as I pull into the parking lot of Western Garden, the best gardening store in town. The owner, Orrin Hatch, waves at me from behind the counter. Eugenia Myers, I need some lavender seeds for a spring project, I answer, walking between the rows of different plants. Working on something in the park again? He asks, adjusting his glasses on the bridge of his nose. Yes, I'm going to update the eastern section. People like to take pictures there in the spring. Orrin walks over to a shelf of seeds and takes out several sachets. Take this variety. It can withstand our spring weather vagaries the best. And by the way, he lowers his voice, how's Amber? I haven't seen her in a while. I press my lips together. Orrin has known Amber since she was a little girl. She used to come to the store with me when she was little. Good, I reply briefly. Busy at work. You know, coordinating events takes a lot of time. He nods, but I can see the understanding in his eyes. He knows that things are not going well between me and my daughter. Give her my regards, he says as he packs up the seeds. On the way back home, I feel tiredness gradually overwhelm me. It's been a long day, and I still have several hours of paperwork ahead of me. My house appears around the bend, small but cozy, with a spacious garden that I have turned into a real paradise. Every plant here is planted by my hands. Every stone is laid with love. Pulling into the driveway, I notice a red sports car parked at the entrance. My heart skips a beat. Amber has arrived after all. Unexpectedly, but pleasantly, my daughter is sitting on the porch, scrolling through something on her phone. She looks up when she hears the sound of my car and waves slightly. Even from a distance, I can see her elaborate manicure and the expensive watch sparkling on her wrist. At 28, Amber knows how to look elegant. Mom? She stands up as I approach and kisses me lightly on the cheek. Have you been digging in the ground all day again? Her voice has a slight disdain in it that has become familiar in recent years. Yes, dear, I have, she says. I've always found my profession too simple, too dirty. I finished a project for Mrs. Findlay today, I answer, unlocking the door. Come in and I'll make some tea. Amber follows me into the kitchen, her heels clacking on the wooden floor. She's beautiful, tall, slender, with dark hair that she dyes a shade of caramel. She inherited high cheekbones and a straight nose from her father, and green eyes from me, although her eyes have always been sharper than mine. So, what brings you here today? I ask, putting the kettle on. Amber sits down at the table and puts her phone in front of her. I wanted to talk about the house, she says bluntly. I freeze for a moment, then continue to get the cups. We bought a small house on the outskirts of town 3 years ago. Amber convinced me it was a good investment. I put up most of the money, and she promised to pay her share of the mortgage every month. What about it? I ask cautiously. I want to sell it. Real estate prices are high now. We can make a lot of money, she says in a business-like tone. I need money for a new project. What project? I put a cup of tea in front of her. Kyle and I are starting our own event agency. Her eyes light up with enthusiasm. This is our chance, Mom. But we need startup capital. Kyle is her current boyfriend of 6 months, the sixth in the last 3 years. I've never seen him in person, only in photos on Amber's Instagram. But we agreed that this was a long-term investment, I say carefully. Her face immediately changes, her joy disappears, and her lips press into a thin line. There you go again. She abruptly pushes her cup away. I knew you wouldn't support me. You always do. Amber, I'm just saying that. No, you're trying to control my life again. She raises her voice. You always think you know best. You don't think I can run my own business? I take a deep breath. This scenario has been repeated over and over again for years. Any disagreement on her part turns into an accusation that I don't support her dreams. I didn't mean it that way, I say quietly. I just want to make sure you've thought it through. Starting a business is a big step. You never believed in me. She stands up from the table. Yes, I missed a few payments, but I always paid them back. And you're always reminding me of my mistakes. This dialogue reminds me of hundreds of other arguments. I'm tired of them, but I can't find a way to communicate with my daughter in a different way. When she was a teenager, I wrote it off as age-related rebellion. When she turned 20, I thought it was a temporary difficulty of growing up. Now that she's almost 30, I'm starting to realize that something went wrong a long time ago, and I failed to fix it. Amber, I've always believed in you, I say quietly. I just want you to be careful, she snorts. Careful? That's your favorite word. You've been careful all your life, and look where you are now. She gestures around my modest kitchen. 54 years old, alone, digging in other people's gardens for a pittance. Her words hit me like a slap in the face. For 30 years, I have put her needs before my own. I gave up my college education to provide for her. I worked 2 jobs to pay for her education. I bought her clothes while I wore the same ones for years. And now she's telling me that my life is worthless? Amber, that's enough. My voice suddenly becomes firm. I don't agree to sell the house. This is a final decision. She looks at me in shock. Usually, after her outbursts, I back off, try to find a compromise. Well, fine. She grabs her bag. Then I'll contact a lawyer. Go ahead, I reply calmly, but the documents are drawn up in such a way that you can't do anything without my consent. It's true. After her previous financial ideas that ended up in debt, I was careful when I signed the house papers. Amber spins on her heels and heads for the exit. At the door, she turns around, her face distorted with anger. You know what? You're just jealous that I want more out of life, that I don't want to be stuck in this hole like you, that I'm not alone and I have plans. The door closes behind her with a loud bang. I look out the window as she gets into the car and drives off, the tires screeching as she starts. The tea in my cup has already cooled, as has my heart. Washing my face with cold water, I try to calm down. These quarrels are exhausting me more and more. Sometimes I don't recognize my daughter. Where is the sweet girl who used to pick flowers for me and make up fairy tales? When did she turn into this selfish woman who sees me as an obstacle? A phone call interrupts my thoughts. It's Lorelei Pringle, an old college friend of mine who moved to Flagstaff a few years ago after her divorce. Eugenia, how are you? Her voice is warm and familiar. I've been better, I admit. Amber's been over again. Oh no, she replies sympathetically. Another fight? The usual. This time she wants me to sell our investment house so she can start a business with her new boyfriend. Lorelei sighs. And you said no? Yes. It's about time, Lorelei says. She's the only one who's not afraid of me. She's the only one who's not afraid to tell me the truth. Look, I know it's hard, but Eva, have you ever thought that maybe it's your constant willingness to sacrifice yourself for her that made her the way she is? Her words make me freeze. I just wanted to be a good mother, I say quietly. After Roy left, I know, honey, but you're 54 years old now, and what do you have to show for it? When was the last time you did something because you wanted to do it, not because Amber wanted to do it? I don't say anything because I can't remember. Eve, Lorelei's voice softens. The girls and I are going to the Pine Tree Eagle for dinner tomorrow night. Do you want to come? You need to unwind. My first thought is to say no. I have a lot of work to do. I need to prepare estimates for new clients. But then I remember what Amber said about my life. You know what? I'll be there, I say unexpectedly. Great. Lorelei sounds genuinely happy. 7 o'clock, don't be late. After the conversation, I sit on the porch looking at my garden at dusk. Maybe Lorelei is right. Maybe it's time to start living for myself, not just for Amber. The next day, I meet Lorelei and two of her friends at the Pine Needle, a small, cozy restaurant in the center of town. At first, I feel awkward. It's been so long since I've been out for fun. But gradually the tension recedes. We talk, laugh, exchange stories. Morel works at the local library and Janine teaches at an elementary school. They talk about their families, children, grandchildren. And your Amber? How is she? Janine asks during dessert. I hesitate, not knowing how much to say. Lorelei sees my hesitation and squeezes my hand lightly. They have a complicated relationship, she says simply. Janine nods in understanding. It's the same with my son. We haven't spoken in a year. This revelation shocks me. Janine has always seemed so happy, so whole. But how do you live with it? I ask quietly. She shrugs, but I can see the pain in her eyes. Day after day. Sometimes it hurts. But I have realized one thing. If you let a child consume your whole life, in the end, it will not help him, or her, or you. These words hit the nail on the head. Isn't that what I've been doing all these years? I just don't know where I went wrong, I admit. I did the best I could. Ava, Morel interrupts me gently. Sometimes children don't become like this because of our mistakes, but simply because they are. But I'm her mother, I say. I'm supposed to. What? Lorelei asks. Be perfect? Not to make mistakes. To see everything coming. We all make mistakes, Eve. The question is whether we continue to make them knowing they are mistakes. Her words sink into my soul. I spend the whole evening thinking about this conversation, and when I get home, something in me changes. A small sprout of doubt begins to grow. Have I been living the right way all these years? Did I sacrifice myself too much? And most importantly, did it help Amber become a better person? The next morning, I wake up with an unusual feeling. Something has changed. Something in me. I don't know what it is, but it feels like freedom, an opportunity. I look in the mirror at my face with fine lines from the sun and work, and suddenly I ask myself, What do I, Eugenia Myers, want? Not Amber, not for Amber, but for me. And for the first time in many years, I don't know the answer, but I feel like it's time to find it. The calendar on the wall reminds me that my birthday is only 7 days away. 48 hours ago, I had my last fight with Amber about the house, and I haven't heard a word from her since. That's typical. When we fight, she disappears for a few days and then reappears as if nothing happened, or, more often, with new demands. Monday morning greets me with cold. October always brings the first frosts in Flagstaff, and today the temperature has dropped to 3 degrees. I pull on a sweater and step out onto the porch with a cup of tea. My breath turns into little clouds of steam. The garden needs shelter for the winter, and I keep putting it off. Maybe today I'll finally get around to it. The phone in my pocket vibrates. A message from Lorelei. How are you? Did Amber call? I answer with a short no and return to contemplating the garden. In recent years, my birthday has become more of a source of anxiety than joy. Amber always finds a way to turn it into a drama. Last year, she gave me a gym membership, accompanied by caring comments about my figure. The year before that, she forgot all about it, and when I gently reminded her, she accused me of being selfish. And yet, despite my past experience, I decide to make another attempt to establish a relationship. My birthday seems like a good excuse. I dial Amber's number, but, as always after our fights, I go straight to voicemail. I don't leave a message. I know from experience that she doesn't listen to them. I send a text message. Hi, honey. I'd like to invite you to dinner at the Alpine House on Thursday, my birthday. It would be great to spend the evening together. I hit send and put the phone on my desk, not expecting a quick response. The day passes in work. I'm finishing up the seasonal shrub trimming for Mrs. Henderson, an elderly widow who always treats me to homemade cookies and stories about her grandchildren. Her life seems so carefree. Her children call every Sunday. Her grandchildren come for vacation. Her sons-in-law help with repairs. She once told me, Yevgenia, the greatest joy of old age is to see your children become good people. Her words then struck me to the core, although I tried not to show it. When I got home, I checked my phone. There was no response from Amber. Instead, there are 3 messages from Lorelei, who invites me to lunch on Saturday to celebrate properly. I promised to think about it. In fact, the prospect of spending my birthday with friends sounds more appealing than another stressful dinner with Amber. On Tuesday, I receive a short okay from my daughter in response to the invitation. No greeting, no questions, just an agreement. And yet, it's better than a refusal. Wednesday passes in anxious anticipation. I book a table at the Alpine House, a small restaurant with European cuisine that we both love. At least, we used to love it. I'm not sure if I still know Amber's tastes. They change as fast as her boyfriend's. On Thursday, I wake up with a strange feeling. 55 years old. Another year of life that my daughter says is worthless. I stop in front of the mirror, looking at my face. Gray hair that I cut myself, wrinkles around my eyes from smiling too much, although I smile less and less lately, tanned skin from working outdoors. Have I really wasted my life? Have I been choosing my priorities correctly all these years? A phone call interrupts my thoughts. Happy birthday, Ava. Lorelei's voice sounds happy. How are you feeling on your big day? As usual, I answer honestly. A year older. Nonsense. You look better than I did at 40. So, are you going out with Amber tonight? I confirm and add, I hope it goes well this time. I hope so too, Lorelei says, but I can hear the doubt in her voice. If anything goes wrong, call me and I'll come and get you. Everything will be fine, I reply, more convincing myself than her. The working day passes in pleasant chores. Clients, having learned about my birthday, give me small gifts. homemade cookies, a book about gardening, a beautiful flower pot. In the evening, I return home to prepare for dinner with my daughter. I pull my best outfit out of the closet, a dark green dress that I bought last year on sale but never found a chance to wear. It suits my eyes and makes my figure look slimmer. I touch up my lips, add a little blush, and the reflection in the mirror shows me not just a tired middle-aged woman, but an elegant lady who can still surprise. Alpine House greets me with warmth and the aroma of fresh bread. I arrive 10 minutes early to choose a good table and order wine. The waitress, a nice girl named Cassidy, wishes me a happy birthday and takes me to a cozy corner by the window. I order a bottle of red wine, knowing that Amber always chose it. At 7:30, Amber is still gone. I check my phone, no messages. This is also typical. She rarely shows up on time, as if to demonstrate that my time is worthless compared to hers. It's 8 o'clock. I have already drunk 2 glasses of wine, eaten all the bread in the basket, and started getting sympathetic looks from the waitress. Finally, the door of the restaurant opens and Amber walks in with a young man. I immediately realize that it's Kyle, her current boyfriend, the one she's going to open a business with. They laugh about something, and only then Amber notices me and waves as if I'm the one who's late, not her. Mom! She kisses my cheek, and I smell expensive perfume and alcohol. Sorry I'm late. Kyle and I ran into some old friends and got a little late. That's okay, I say, though I'm irritated inside. Nice to meet you, Kyle. Kyle shakes my hand. He's in his 30s, his dark hair slicked back, an expensive watch on his wrist. He seems confident, maybe too confident. It's nice to finally meet you, Mrs. Myers. Amber has told me so much about you. I doubt those stories were pleasant, but I smile and offer them a seat. I didn't know you were bringing a guest, Amber says, trying to sound casual. Oh, I thought it wouldn't be a problem. She shrugs and picks up the menu. Besides, Kyle and I go everywhere together now. In business? I ask cautiously. And more. Kyle winks at her, and they exchange glances that make me uncomfortable. Amber orders the most expensive dish on the menu. Kyle chooses steak, and I opt for trout, a local specialty. The conversation is difficult. I try to ask them about their plans for the business, but their answers are vague. You see, Mom, modern business is not just about products or services, Amber explains with a hint of arrogance. It's about building a brand, about having a social media presence. We already have 10,000 followers on Instagram, Kyle adds proudly, and that opens the door to a lot of opportunities. I nod, not fully understanding how Instagram followers translate into real profit, but I decide not to argue. Amber tells me you're a landscaper? Kyle asks, cutting into his steak. Yes, I've been gardening for over 20 years, I answer, feeling a little proud. That's so old-fashioned, he says with a smile that instantly dampens my pride. It's all about the virtual world now. Gardening is a nice hobby for retirees, but it's hardly a serious career. I freeze with my fork in my hand. Amber sees my face and quickly intervenes. Kyle means that there are a lot of new opportunities for young people now. But of course, your work is important too, Mom. Her tone says otherwise. I feel myself blushing with shame and anger. I'm 55 years old. I raised my daughter on my own, built a business from scratch, and now some boy who probably lives on his parents' money is telling me that my profession is not serious? I believe that creating beauty in the real world is just as important as in the virtual world, I say calmly but firmly, and the people I work for appreciate that. Of course, of course. Kyle waves his hand as if to brush away an annoying fly. But you have to admit that the future is digital. I don't answer, and the conversation moves on to other topics. They talk about parties they've been to, people I don't know, and with every word, the gap between us grows wider. I feel like a stranger at my own birthday party. When dessert arrives, I notice Amber typing on her phone under the table. She's been doing this all evening, constantly distracted by messages, as if our meeting is just a break between more important things. So, Amber said you don't support their business idea, Kyle suddenly says, putting down his fork. I didn't say I didn't support it, I reply carefully. I just think it's a risky idea to sell the house for startup capital. Risk is part of business, Kyle says, talking to me like a schoolgirl. Without risk, there is no profit. That's true, I say, but there is reasonable risk and reckless risk. If the business doesn't work out, Amber will lose her share of the real estate. Well, not all of us like to live cautious, predictable lives, Amber finally breaks in. Some people really want to accomplish something, not just exist. Her words sting, as they always do. I take a deep breath, reminding myself that it's my birthday and I don't want to fight. But real estate is about stability. The business may fail, but the house will always be yours. God, Mom, you're such a pessimist. She rolls her eyes. You never believed in me. Amber, that's not true. Yes, it is. She raises her voice, drawing the attention of the neighboring tables. You always think I'm going to screw it up, that I'm incompetent, that all my ideas are stupid. I didn't mean it that way. I try to calm her down, but she's already in the middle of a rant. You don't believe in Kyle and I. You think our business will fail. Admit it. Kyle sits there with a slight smirk, watching us fight like it's an entertainment show. Amber, please, let's not fight tonight, I plead, feeling my throat tighten with resentment. Oh, yeah, of course, it's your birthday. She raises her glass sarcastically. God forbid anyone should spoil her mood. Several of the visitors are already openly looking in our direction. You know, Amber, I think we should talk about this another time, I say quietly, signaling the waitress to bring the bill. Are you afraid to hear the truth? Amber tilts her glass and finishes her wine in one gulp. The truth is that you're jealous of me. You're jealous that I'm young, that I have ambition, that I'm not afraid to take risks. I silently take out my wallet and put my credit card on the bill I brought. Amber doesn't stop. You've spent your whole life being a good mother, and now you're mad that I don't want to live as boring a life as you. Amber, stop it. My voice is shaking. I'm not mad at you. I just want you to be careful with your finances. Careful, careful, careful. She almost screams. I hate that word. I hate your prudence, your boringness, your miserable life that you try to justify by caring for me. I signed the check without looking at the amount. I don't care how much this dinner costs. I just want to get out of here. We're leaving, I say, standing up. Oh, yeah, run away from the conversation like always. Amber stands up too, staggering. You know what? I'm going to tell you the truth since it's your birthday. Your life is a mistake. You're a mistake. You spent it being my shadow, and now you're angry that I'm not grateful. But what should I be grateful for? For never allowing me to become independent? For always making me feel guilty? Every word she says is a knife in my heart. I stop at the exit, feeling the tears coming to my eyes. Amber, please, I whisper, not now. When? When is it time for the truth? She follows me into the parking lot, Kyle following with the same half smile. Do you know what the best gift for your birthday would be? The best gift would be if you just died. Then maybe I could finally live my own life without your constant judgment and control. I freeze, not believing my own ears. Did my daughter, my only child, really just wish me dead? Tears well up in my eyes, but I won't let her see how badly she's hurt me. I'll take you home, I say in a steady voice. You're drunk. No, thanks. She grabs Kyle's hand. I don't want to be around you anymore tonight. or ever again. They walk away, leaving me alone in the parking lot. I get into the car but don't start the engine. Tears stream down my cheeks, and I don't try to hold them back. The best gift I could give you would be if you just died. These words echo in my head, tearing my heart to pieces. I don't know how long I sit there, but when I finally decide to leave, it's too late. The road home is blurry with tears, and I drive slowly, trying to focus. When I get home, I don't turn on the light. I sit in the darkness of the living room, staring at nothing. The best gift would be if you just died. The pain is so intense that I can barely breathe. My whole life, all the sacrifices, all the love, and this is what they turned into. My only child wishes me dead on my birthday. Something inside me finally breaks. The part of my heart that still believed that one day Amber and I would be close again, that she would appreciate everything I did for her, that she would love me at least a little bit, that part dies that night. And with it dies the Eugenia Myers who always put her daughter first, who sacrificed her dreams, her needs, her happiness for Amber. The Eugenia who forgave everything, tolerated everything, justified everything. In her place, another woman is born, one who has nothing left to lose, the one who realizes that 30 years of self-denial have brought neither her nor her daughter happiness or healthy relationships. I sit in the dark, and a plan gradually forms in my head. If Amber wants me dead, well, maybe I can give it to her, but not in the way she expects. Maybe it's time for Eugenia Myers to die for her ungrateful daughter, and maybe it's time for a new Eugenia to be born, one who will finally start living for herself. The next morning I woke up early despite the sleepless night. My eyes were red with tears, but I felt calm inside. The decision was made. I would no longer be a victim of a toxic relationship with my own daughter. Did Amber want me dead? Well, in a way, she would get her wish. The first cup of coffee this morning tastes different, bitter, but also somehow more true. I realize that I have to act quickly and decisively. The plan in my head is clear: collect all the documents that prove my years of sacrifice, cancel the financing of the shared house, take my money, and disappear. Start a new life somewhere where Amber can't find me and continue to poison my life. I'm going to need confirmation of how horrible her words were. I pull out my phone and find a voice recording app. I press the record button and speak. On October 7th, my 55th birthday, my daughter Amber said to me, "The best gift I could give you would be if you just died." These words were the last straw after 30 years of a relationship that had brought me nothing but pain and disappointment. I decided to fulfill her wish, to die for her. I will no longer be a part of her life. I will not support her financially. I will not listen to accusations and insults. I deserve better than that. It took me 55 years to realize this, but better late than never. I stop the recording and save it. It will be part of what I leave Amber. The first thing I do is visit the bank. I dress neatly, almost solemnly, as if I were going to an important meeting. In a way, it is. It's a meeting with a new life. On the way to the bank, I call my regular customers and tell them that due to unforeseen circumstances, I have to stop working in Flagstaff. Most express regret. Some ask for details, but I remain adamant that personal circumstances do not allow me to continue. I recommend them other landscapers in town. At the bank, I am met by the manager, Mr. Patterson, whom I have known for over a decade. "Yevgenia, it's good to see you. How can I help you today?" His friendly smile shakes my decision a little, but I remember Amber's words from yesterday and internally confirm my intention. "I want to close all my accounts and withdraw my money," I say firmly. Mr. Patterson looks at me in surprise. "All your accounts? That's a serious decision, Evgenia. May I ask why? I'm moving, I answer briefly, to another state, and I want to start from scratch. He studies my face for a few seconds, then nods. Of course, that's your right. But let me recommend that you don't close your accounts completely. You can withdraw almost all the money, but keep the accounts active with a minimum balance. It will be easier if you change your mind. I consider his advice and agree. It's wise to leave myself an emergency exit, although I'm sure I won't change my mind. An hour later, I leave the bank with a check for an impressive sum, all my savings from 30 years of work. It's not millions, but it's enough to start a new life elsewhere. Money that I had been saving for a rainy day, for old age, for unexpected expenses. Money that I planned to leave Amber as an inheritance someday. The next stop was the office of Marcus Delaney, my lawyer. I didn't call ahead, so I have to wait almost an hour for him to be free. Eugenia? He shakes my hand. It's been a long time. I want to cancel the financing of the house I share with my daughter, I say without much preamble. Marcus leans back. This is a serious decision. Are you sure? Absolutely. Well, let's see the documents. We spend the next hour analyzing the legal nuances. It turns out that everything is not as simple as I thought. Since I made most of the down payment and paid the mortgage regularly, I have the right to refuse the financing, but that doesn't mean Amber will lose the house immediately. She will have time to find another source of financing or sell the house. I can have all the necessary documents ready by tomorrow, Marcus says. But are you sure you don't want to discuss this with your daughter first? We already have, I reply coldly. Marcus doesn't ask for details, and I'm grateful for that. We agree that I will come by tomorrow to sign the documents. When I get home, I start packing. Not everything, just the most necessary and valuable things. Clothes, a few favorite books, photo albums, although I'm leaving most of the photos with Amber, trinkets that are dear to me. Everything else can be bought in a new place or not at all. Material things suddenly seem so unimportant. At the same time, I am looking for information about Tucson on the internet. It's a city in southern Arizona, far enough away from Flagstaff to avoid chance encounters, but close enough to avoid moving to another state, which will simplify legal issues. Plus, it has a warmer climate, which is starting to matter to someone my age. I find a rental ad for a small house on the outskirts of Tucson. It has a small garden, which is perfect for me. I call the owner and arrange to see it the day after tomorrow. I make a reservation at a motel for the first few days. Then I start collecting documents. This is the hardest part of my plan, gathering all the evidence of my support for Amber over the years, her tuition receipts, the paperwork for the car I gave her for her 21st birthday, the rent checks for her first apartment that I paid while she was finding herself after college, health insurance bills, dental bills, even receipts for her bridal gown when she almost married that musician 5 years ago. I make copies of all these documents. I put the originals in a separate folder in case I need them later. The copies will go to Amber. The day passes in a rush. I barely have time to eat a snack, so busy preparing. In the evening, there is a knock on the door. It's Lorelei. She's standing on the porch with a bottle of wine and a box of chocolates. "Happy birthday again," she says, hugging me. I hesitate, but then decide to tell her everything. Lorelei is the only close friend who knows the whole story of my relationship with my daughter. "Oh my God," she whispers as I tell her what Amber said. "Did she really say that?" I nod, feeling the tears come back to my eyes. "And now you're running away?" "Not running away," I correct her. "Starting a new life. A life without toxic relationships, without constant emotional abuse." Lorelei hugs me. "I understand you, Eve. I really do. But isn't this decision too radical? Maybe we should try to talk to her again. Maybe with a psychologist?" "We tried, remember? 3 years ago." She left after the first session, saying that the therapist was on my side. Yes, I remember, Lorelei sighs, but to disappear completely. I have no choice, I say firmly. It's killing me slowly. I'd rather have one death, quick and clean. Lorelei looks at me for a long time, then nods. Good. If you're sure, I'll support you. What can I do to help? Her support strengthens my decision. We open the wine and I tell her my plan in more detail. She not only agrees to help, but also offers her lake house for a temporary stay while I look for a permanent place to live. There's no one there now, she says. I only use it in the summer. You can stay there as long as you want. I gratefully accept her offer. It's even better than a motel, a quiet, secluded place where I can think about my next steps. Saturday comes, the day I plan to meet Amber for the last time. I know she will be at her company's office preparing a report for a client. She always works on Saturdays when she has an urgent project, and she told me that no one else is there on weekends. Before leaving, I double-check the materials I've collected. I attach a personal letter explaining my decision to the copies of financial documents. I don't allow myself to be too emotional. I just state the facts. How her words struck me, how years of emotional abuse had eroded my self-esteem, how I finally realized that I deserved better. The final touch is a flash drive with an audio recording of my words about her wishing for my death. I put it all in an envelope and drive to Amber's office. The building is almost empty, as I expected. There is no one at the reception desk, and the elevator is offline. I go up to the third floor and walk down the familiar corridor to my daughter's office. The door is open, and I see her leaning over her laptop, focused on her work. For a moment, my heart clenches with love and pain. Despite everything, she is my child. But then I remember her words, her constant manipulation, the years of humiliation, and my resolve returns. Amber, I say, standing in the doorway. She looks up, surprised to see me. Mom, what are you doing here? I brought you something. I walk into the office and place the envelope on her desk. Read it when you have time. She looks at the envelope with suspicion. What is it? Just read it, I repeat. She takes the envelope and places it next to the keyboard without opening it. If this is about our last conversation, I'm not in the mood to discuss it now. I know, I say calmly. You don't have to say anything. Just read it when you're done. I turn to leave, but she stops me. Mom, wait. Listen, I was in a rush the other day. The things I said, you know I didn't mean it. I look at her, looking for signs of sincerity, but I see only the usual manipulation. She doesn't apologize. She just tries to smooth things over so that it doesn't happen again. Read the letter, Amber, I say firmly, and I walk out without looking back. This is our last meeting, but Amber doesn't know it yet. Back at home, I finish packing. Everything I plan to take with me fits in my pickup truck and the small trailer I rented. I decide to leave the rest of my things. Lorelei promised to deal with them later. Marcus calls to say that all the paperwork for the house is done. Amber will now know that I will no longer be financing the mortgage. She will either have to take over the payments or sell the house. It's her choice. At 6 in the evening, my phone starts ringing. It's Amber. I don't answer it. 5 minutes later, the call repeats, then again and again. Then messages come, first angry, then pleading. You can't just cancel the house financing. It's not fair. We had a deal. Mom, let's talk about it. I'll explain everything. Please pick up the phone. I turn off the phone. There is no point in continuing this cycle of pain. I wrote everything I wanted to say in a letter. The documents speak for themselves. In the morning, I walk around my garden for the last time, saying goodbye to every plant I have grown. It hurts to leave my home, my work, but it is necessary. I get in my car and drive to Lorelei's house to say goodbye. Are you sure? she asks again, hugging me. Absolutely, I answer, and thank you for everything. Promise me you'll let me know when you get settled in your new place. I promise. I drive south to Tucson, feeling a mixture of sadness and relief. Yes, I'm leaving behind 30 years of life, my home, my job, my city, but I am also leaving behind pain, manipulation, and toxic relationships. On the way, I stop at a lookout overlooking the mountains. I take out my old phone and throw it into a trash can. A new one with a new number is already waiting for me in my pocket. This simple gesture symbolizes my final break with the past. In Tucson, I stay in a small hotel and immediately go to meet the owner of the house I found on the internet. The house turns out to be even better than the photos. Cozy, with a small terrace and a garden with cacti and other desert plants. When can you move in? The owner, an elderly man named Jeremy, asks. Right now, I reply. He raises his eyebrows in surprise, but doesn't comment. We sign the lease, and an hour later I am unpacking my things in my new home. In the evening, sitting on the terrace with a cup of tea, I think about Amber. What is she doing now? Has she read all the documents? Has she finally realized that her actions have led me to this decision? Maybe she doesn't even care. Maybe she's glad that I've finally disappeared from her life, as she wanted. But strangely, it doesn't hurt me as much anymore. I feel freedom. For the first time in 30 years, I don't have to think about how my actions will affect Amber, how she will react, whether she will yell at me again, accuse me, manipulate me. I am free, and this freedom, though born of pain, opens up new horizons for me. The Tucson sun is completely different from the one in Flagstaff. It is brighter, hotter, more uncompromising. In 6 months, my skin has turned golden, and my hair, now short and dyed a warm brown, has faded to a honey-colored hue at the tips. I look at my reflection in the window of the Desert Rose coffee shop and barely recognize myself. A new hairstyle, a new style of clothing, new glasses with colored frames, and, most importantly, a new expression on my face. Yevgenia, your favorite cappuccino. Raina, the owner of the coffee shop, looks out from behind the door. I smile and enter the cool room. In 6 months, Desert Rose has become my second home. I work here 3 days a week, creating and caring for the live succulent arrangements that adorn each table. The other 4 days I dedicate to my small business, creating desert plant arrangements for homes and offices. How are things going at Opuntia? Reina asks, referring to the name of my company. 2 new orders this week, I answer proudly. And a client from El Paso wants me to design his patio. I have to go there for a few days. See? And you were afraid to start over. Reina winks and hands me a cup. Here's to your success. We clink our cups lightly, and I take a sip of the aromatic coffee. Raina is part of my new circle of friends people who know me as Eugenia Hartley, a widow from Phoenix who moved to Tucson to find a quieter life. The legend is simple but effective, and no one asks too many questions. Only Raina knows the truth. After 3 months of our friendship, when the trust between us had grown stronger, I told her the real story. She was the only person in Tucson with whom I could be honest, and it felt right. Her reaction did not disappoint me. She hugged me and said, sometimes the healthiest thing you can do for yourself is to leave. I finish my coffee and get ready to meet a new client who wants to turn his balcony into a miniature desert oasis. My little pickup truck, which served me well back in Flagstaff, is now adorned with the Opuntia logo, a heart-shaped cactus that symbolizes my new love of desert plants. On the way, I call Karina, my plant supplier, to check on the availability of rare succulents for the project in El Paso. She promises to get everything I need by next week, and I feel a pleasant excitement. This project could be a game changer for my business. If all goes well, The client will recommend me to his friends in Texas, which will open up new opportunities for expansion. The meeting goes well. The client is excited about my ideas, and we agree to start work the following week. On the way home, I can't stop smiling. Who would have thought that at the age of 55, I would start a new life and a new business, and it would bring me so much pleasure? My new home, a small one-story house on the outskirts of Tucson, greets me with a cozy coolness. In 6 months, I have transformed a deserted backyard into a blooming oasis where colorful cacti coexist with fragrant herbs and rare varieties of agave. Neighbors often stop to admire and ask for advice, which brought me my first clients. I check the mail, a few invoices, a catalog of garden tools, and a letter from Lorelei. My heart is happy to hear from her. We keep in touch via email, but real paper letters are always special. I make tea and settle down on the terrace to read the letter. Lorelei writes about her life in Flagstaff, about mutual friends, about how much she misses our conversations. And then she turns to the topic I've been avoiding all these months. I don't know if you want to know this, Eva, but I think I have to tell you. Amber lost her house. The bank took it away for non-payment of the mortgage. She tried to find other financing, but was turned down because of her bad credit. I heard, through mutual friends, that she has serious credit problems. It seems that the business with Kyle didn't work out, and they broke up. She asked about you, where you were, if you were coming back. I didn't say anything, as I promised. But know that she's looking for you. I put the letter down, feeling a strange mix of emotions. Part of me feels satisfied. Amber has finally faced the consequences of her actions. The other part of me, the motherly part, is worried. How is she living? Where is she? Does she have a roof over her head? But then I remember all those years when she manipulated me, exploited my love and guilt. And I realize that I will not go back to that, even if she is in a difficult situation now. Lorelei continues, "Don't think I'm trying to make you feel guilty. On the contrary, I just want you to know the situation in case she finds a way to contact you. Be prepared, and remember, you are not to blame for her problems. She is a grown woman and is responsible for her own decisions." These words bring relief. Lorelei understands, and that's important. I finish my tea, rereading the last paragraphs of the letter, where she tells me about her plans to visit Tucson in the spring. It would be great to see her, to show her my new life. The next morning, I wake up early, as usual. Morning yoga on the terrace has become part of my new routine, another habit I've picked up in Tucson. Then breakfast, checking orders, planning the day. I love this new routine, created by myself, without having to adjust to anyone's expectations or demands. At exactly 9 o'clock, Raina calls me. "Evgenia, you have to come." Her voice sounds tense, and I feel a little worried. "What's wrong?" "Just come," she says, and hangs up. 20 minutes later, I'm at the Desert Rose. Raina is standing behind the counter with an unusual expression on her face, tense and worried. She silently hands me a white envelope. "This was brought for you this morning." A woman asked about Yevgenia Myers. I told her I didn't know her, but she insisted that you come here and left it. My heart skips a beat. There's no address on the envelope, just my name in a familiar handwriting. "She described you very accurately," Raina continues. "Said you were her mother and that you needed to talk. I didn't say I knew you, but I don't think she believed me." "What did she look like?" I ask, still not opening the envelope. Very persistent. I nod. "Did she say she was coming back?" "No, but Eugenia, I have a feeling she won't give up." She was very determined. I thank Raina for the warning and drive home, clutching the envelope in my hand. Only in the safety of my home do I dare to open it. Inside are a few sheets of paper in small handwriting. I start reading, and with each line, my mood deteriorates. "Mom, If I can still call you that, I don't know if you will ever get this letter, but I have to try. It took me 6 months to find you. 6 months of hell that you put me through with your selfish decision. You destroyed my life. The bank took the house. My credit cards were blocked. Kyle left when the money ran out. You planned all this, didn't you? You wanted to punish me for finally telling the truth about your pathetic, controlling attitude towards me. Yes, I said cruel things, but didn't you deserve them? All my life you have used me as a justification for your existence, clinging to me, suffocating me with your care. And then, when I finally tried to build something of my own, you took everything and ran away like a thief. Those documents you left behind, do you really think a few bills prove anything? Yes, you paid for my education, for my car, for our house together, but that's your duty as a mother. You can't demand gratitude now for simply fulfilling your parental duty. Now I live in a tiny apartment, work 2 jobs to make ends meet, and all because of you. Because of your inability to accept that I have grown up and want to live my own life. Because of your pathological need to control me through money, I found you and I will not give up. You have to come back and fix what you've done. You have to help me get my life back. It's your duty as a mother, whether you want to or not. Amber. The letter falls from my hands to the floor. Not a single word of remorse, no understanding, only accusations and demands. Even after 6 months, even after all those documents that showed how much I invested in her, not only emotionally, but also financially, much more than maternal duty required, she still sees herself as a victim. And she found me. The question is, how? And what should I do now? I call Lorelei, but it goes to voicemail. I leave a short message. She found me. Call me when you can. All day long, I can't find a place to go. I cancel meetings, lock my door, and just sit on the terrace, thinking about the situation. Amber has always been persistent when she wants something. She won't back down, especially now that she knows where I am. She will come to demand money, to demand that I fix the situation, which she believes I created, not her own irresponsibility. What can I do? Move again? Start from scratch in another city? The thought is exhausting. In 6 months, I have built a new life here. I have clients, friends, favorite places. I don't want to run away again. Maybe I should meet her, try to explain my position again. But will she hear me this time, if she hasn't heard me in all the previous years? The evening dusk finds me still on the terrace, with unresolved questions and anxiety in my heart. Finally, Lorelei calls me. Ava, what's wrong? I tell her about the letter and Amber's visit to the coffee shop. How could she have found you? Lorelei asks. You changed your phone number, your email, even your last name for everyday use. I don't know, I admit. Maybe she hired a private detective. She was always stubborn when it came to what she wanted. And what are you going to do? I don't know, I repeat. Part of me just wants to disappear again. The other part of me is tired of running. Eve, listen. Lorelei's voice turned serious. You have a right to your life. You gave Amber everything you could for 30 years. You're not to blame for her current problems. Don't let her manipulate you again. Her words resonate with me. She's right. I can't fall into that trap again. Thank you, Lorelei. That's what friends are for. She smiles, and I can hear it in her voice. By the way, I'm still planning to visit you in the spring. Maybe I should come earlier. That would be great, I say sincerely. After talking to Lorelei, I feel more confident. I pick up Amber's letter from the floor and read it again. Now I see it more clearly. It's not just an accusation, it's an attempt to get me back into a toxic relationship, to make me feel guilty, to take responsibility for her mistakes. I take the matches out of the kitchen drawer and go out onto the terrace. I set fire to the edge of the letter and watched the flames slowly devour the paper, turning Amber's words to ash. It's a symbolic gesture, but it brings relief. The ashes are scattered by the wind in the Tucson night air. The last vestiges of my guilt and doubts fly away with it. I make the final decision. I will not run away. This is my life, my city, my choice. If Amber comes, I will be ready. I will tell her the truth, that I will no longer be her ATM, her emotional punching bag, that I love her as my child, but I will not allow her to abuse me, that she can be a part of my life only if she learns to respect my boundaries, and if she can't accept that, then our paths will part for good. The next morning, I wake up with a new determination. I call Raina and warn her that Amber may return to the coffee shop. If she comes, tell her I'll be there on Thursday at 10 in the morning, I say. I'm willing to talk to her once, but tell her that it will be the only time we'll meet and I won't change my mind. Are you sure? Raina sounds concerned. Absolutely, I answer. It's time to stop running and put a stop to it. I don't know if Amber will show up on Thursday. I don't know if I'll be able to get through to her, to make her understand my position. But I know one thing. I'm not afraid anymore. I am not ashamed of my decision to die for my daughter, who wanted me dead. It was an act of self-preservation, an act of self-love that I had been deprived of for too long. These 6 months of life after death taught me a lot. I realized that I deserve happiness and peace, that my needs are as important as the needs of other people, that sometimes the healthiest decision is to break toxic ties, even if they are family ties. I have changed not only externally, but also internally. I have become stronger, more confident, more whole. And I wouldn't trade this new Evgenia for anything. The sun is rising over Tucson, flooding my garden with golden light. I go out on the terrace with a cup of coffee and breathe deeply into the morning air, filled with the scent of desert flowers. This is my world, my life, my freedom, and I finally know its true value. Deep down, I hope that someday Amber will realize that I did what I had to do, not out of hatred, but out of love for myself, that my disappearance was not a punishment for her, but a salvation for me. That sometimes the best lesson a parent can teach their children is to show them that self-respect and healthy boundaries are more important than any societal expectations or even family ties.